Corporate is a new buzzword in ophthalmic practice. It is imagined as a big organization, a lot of spending power, which is looming large over the horizon of ophthalmic practice to eat away all the small-time practitioners and the solo or the small group practices. And probably it epitomizes the new capitalistic and probably a very extremely materialistic strategy of ophthalmic practice. So, respected chairpersons and dear delegates, today I am here for a very difficult uphill and a very arduous task of telling you how to face these corporate giants and to still survive in practice. So these corporates have their strengths and weaknesses. I'm afraid they have more strengths than weaknesses. They are not here to reduce the burden of blindness, of course. They are here to make money, lots of money, because finally, for most of them, the balance sheet at the end of the day is probably more important than the so-called age-old ethics or the etiquettes. They have a wider branding. They do with commercial advertisements, and they are the household name nowadays. You have been here for a long time. People do not know you, but they have been yesterday. They are already a household name, so they have that advantage. They have a time-tested methods. They are people to execute the marketing. They spare no effort in trying to get to people, and most importantly, they have power to hold on. They can hold on. They can go for a price war, and they can kill the competition. Of course, they are not without weaknesses, of course. See, what is very important in practice is two things. One is patient acquisition. The second is the patient retention. The patient acquisition is very easy because of the branding and the brand recall. People line up, go there, and many a times they want to really see what they're expecting. Many times don't match their expectations, what they see there. Many a times, the acquisition is very easy with these corporates, but the patient retention is sometimes poor because some people get a raw deal there, and they come back to your old doctors, to you all, because dissatisfied. So probably the philosophy of making too much of money in a too short time sometimes boomerangs for some of the corporates, and the way with which they are expanding now. Probably we do not have so many enough competent doctors to deal with that much of load. So probably the human resource is the biggest problem, which is like most of the corporate giants actually have the problem. So don't despair. Don't become desperate. Don't think that your day is over. Probably just stay on, face it hard, and get the right mindset. That is probably very important. This is the one single message. And you should understand the competition is a part of life. It would have happened anyway, today or tomorrow. And you have to change. The change is, some changes are for good, some changes are for bad. But the change is the only constant thing. You have to probably change with time. And look at it positively. Look at this competition, the new emerging competition, as one of your opportunity to improve. Probably that is the right kind of mindset. And face it head on. Don't retract back. Face it head on. You can obviously come out with some solution. There are definitely some benefits of competition. I am not trying to really, be philosophical. This is a very practical way approach. It gives you a quality conscious approach. You can think of some value additions. You can always retrospect and see what is actually what you're lacking, why the competitor has some better advantage. You can always add some value additions. You become more patient-centric. You become quality conscious and more patient-centric. You can probably give some freebies to your patient. And importantly, you have somebody to compete. Your benchmark is set. You have to excel this benchmark. Probably that is the best advantage, especially in cities where there's not much of competition. Well, this has hit us hard. You always find like soaps and advertisements and toothpaste, people hitting every space in electronic and print media. So they have become a household name, and that has really put a lot of disadvantage to most of us. But funnily and unfortunately for us, the patient's perception of advertising is very funny. See, you don't advertise. You have never advertised till now. They think you are like a small local toothpaste, and they see Colgate and Pepsodents on the TV. So similarly, any organization which is advertising in the print electronic media is presumed to be a much bigger body, or which is probably the right way to do things. So obviously, they will be drawn towards a bigger brands. You are not a brand which is worth advertising. So probably that is the way. It is not taken as that it is a reasonable code of ethics, or it is not the right for a doctor or an institution to advertise. So patients are totally unaware of this particular factor. So that works to our disadvantage. But it has an advantage for us in the indirect way. In advertising, patients line up, go there, and these people look into their eyes and probably diagnose a cataract which is probably futuristic, or a very early cataract which otherwise he wouldn't have come to you for anything. So, and they counsel for a cataract surgery, and all the tariff is given. The patient comes to you as a ready patient for cataract surgery. He knows that he has a cataract. He has been counseled. He knows there's a new technique and he knows the tariff. He just wants to know whether you can do it or whether what is your pricing. So you can just have to fit your tariff to his budget. Probably in many places where the corporates are working, there's a lot of spillover cases where they come ready for surgery. Your OPDs may drop. Your outpatient turnout may be less, but your surgical practice usually never comes down. Well, we can't be left behind. The person who's sitting out there is definitely not more brainier than you. You're all medical graduate, the cream of the society. You can actually think of the ethical marketing. Never presume that you're very well known already in the society. No. Don't be in that illusion. And speak up. You have been modest. You have never spoken about your own good work. Please blow your own trumpet in the very right way. And you can expose yourself in a very ethical and an unobjectionable way. There are accepted ways. You can write in the lay press. You can talk to organizations. You can give lectures. You can definitely make people know the good work that you are doing. And you can always look into, you can increase your value additions in your practice. You can have your own unique. Every place can come up with their own unique concept of promoting themselves, which need not be so hard-cutting. You can just do your own way in probably a very ethical way. A charitable work or a community work can be one such. But what is very important is the poaching. Your own very value staff can be poached overnight and you will be left in the lurch without them, and they will get an advantage of getting a fully trained staff all of a sudden. You have taken troubles to train them and they get them overnight. So immunize them. Probably you may have to give a hike, connect with them, talk to them, see that they are immunized against poaching and headhunting, which is probably the very important thing that happens in almost every place. And never over-dependent on the goodwill of the patient. You have been here for 3 decades, think that you are the God. No. The loyalties of the patient cannot be over-dependent. They can change overnight. So be careful that this should not be taken for granted. So they have their own market share. Well, every form of practice survives. We have 1.2 billion people in our country. So everybody has their own form of practice will survive. And Dr. Bhattacharya has very vividly told that group practices probably becomes inevitable in this emerging scenario, and just wait for the time to turn. Maybe as Dr. Grover said, we have a little personal experience. We have a hospital which is 45 years old, a multi-speciality eye hospital. One of the corporates opened their center in our town. Well, we were jittery and apprehensive in the beginning, but we took it positively. We took it as sort of a healthy competition. We changed so much. We became more patient-centric. We added people, we added machines, we invested, we became quality conscious. We went into accreditation process. We got our ISO. We are through our NMBH protocols now. So our turnover, both patient and financial turnover, changed overnight. So this probably can work in a little small or big way to everyone if you take it positively, and probably just as I told you, the tide on. Thank you very much.